we took your comments to the judge when we argued for the release of this video, saying it was in the public's interest. We heard from hundreds of you after we first broke this story in October. Many of you were concerned that the lieutenant may have received special treatment in this case as a member of the law enforcement community. Some of you also asked about the judgment of the lieutenant, who is tasked with, at times, responding to calls involving children. Today, because the judge ruled in our favor, you can see what happened that day and decide for yourself. But one note before we play this: the judge ordered the faces and voices of children in this video be redacted.
You won't get in trouble, buddy.
You're not going to get in trouble.
It's okay.
We're the good guys.
That's how sheriff's deputies approach an 8-year-old girl who cried out for help from inside this car. Deputies were called to check on the girl alone and naked under a blanket outside Ogden Tap Room during the pub's Oktoberfest celebration. At about a minute into the video, as deputies and workers at the bar try to find her parents, she tells the deputies her father also wears a badge.
He's an officer?
As they wait, one deputy talks to the tap room's workers, including the man who called 911.
She said she wasn't in there long. She said, I've been in here for a minute. So I don't know, but, you know, kids.
Well, me and him were putting stuff away like 20 minutes ago. I saw him or her peeing in the middle of the parking lot and then hopped back in the car. And then I was taking out the trash. And
She was peeing in the middle of the parking lot?
Yeah, and then I heard some kid yell, help me. And I told him. You saw her right before that? I saw her like 20 minutes before that peeing in the middle of the parking lot, butt naked.
Was she with her dad then?
She was butt naked peeing in the middle of the parking lot.
She was naked peeing in the parking lot.
So 20 minutes ago, she was naked, peeing in the middle of the parking lot.
Yeah, me and him were putting all the stuff away in the shed.
No dad around.
A short time later, he does come around.
Excuse me, sir.
And the deputy seems to recognize Matthew Malone.
Hey.
What's going on?
Hey, what's happening, man?
What's going on? She not sleeping anymore?
We are not able to hear some of what happens next because the child's voice is redacted, but we can hear her father talking to deputies.
But the worker said that about 20 minutes ago she hopped out butt naked and peed in the middle of the thing.
Did you get out and go to the bathroom? She was out here before when it was raining, and she went up and down the slide a bunch of times, so she was all wet. And she's like, I want to take my clothes off. I was like, that's fine. I'll wrap you up in the blanket. I wrapped her up. Everything was good. So I want to go to sleep. I said, no problem. Go to sleep.
Evidence of how wet her clothes got can be seen here when Malone wrings them out. The explanation from Malone appears to satisfy deputies. One deputy tells Malone he has to go and call his supervisor.
So he's not freaking out?
Yeah.
Because the way he came out sounded worse than what it is.
Sorry. Yeah.
Sorry.
Sorry about that.
While they wait, two deputies seem to share their thoughts about what they're seeing and hearing. They are talking low, so you may have to strain to hear them. And in all, there are 3 body camera videos, about 30 minutes of tape. You can watch it all now for yourself on WECT.com.
All right, Ashley, I think I'm going to ask a question a lot of folks out there are wondering. An 8-year-old child left in the car, parents in a bar. Why wasn't he charged?
So the sheriff's office said it reviewed the case. It even went to the DA and consulted with the district attorney on this, and it just doesn't rise to the level of charges.
I think that it's important to explain why we had to go to court and why you had to argue in front of the judge for this tape to be released.
Well, a few years ago, former Governor Pat McCrory signed into law this new way of going about getting these videos. So body camera videos are no longer considered public record, and therefore we have to go to court and get a court order, go in front of a judge, argue that it's in compelling public interest, and that judge has to rule in our favor. And there have been times across the state where the judge has said no to the release of these types of videos.
Did you get any resistance for the release of this video?
The first time we went to court, no. The second time we went to court, the county sent an attorney And that attorney said that the sheriff's only objection to the release of the video was that you could see and hear children. So that's ultimately why we saw those redactions. Now, the city of Wilmington sent an attorney to argue for the Wilmington Police Department, and he put up a really tough case. He argued point by point in the law exactly why he didn't feel and the city of Wilmington didn't feel that this should be released. He said something to the effect of, this shouldn't be released because of public curiosity. But we, of course, had, I think, a very good argument thanks to all of the comments from our viewers out there who shared their thoughts on WECT's Facebook page and Community Voice Facebook page. And it's important to note before we move on in this newscast that Lieutenant Malone is back on the job tonight. He was suspended without pay on January 6th, but right before we came out here, we talked to Wilmington Police and they say he's back on the job tonight.